Hello, everybody, and welcome to Bright Founders Talk at Temi. Temi is an international software development company that designs, builds, and delivers software for sustainable businesses and promising startups. Welcome to our podcast where we bring you the most inspiring stories of entrepreneurs and experts in the software development industry. And each week we interview successful leaders who share their unique journeys and valuable insights. I'm your host, Barry, and today we're lucky enough to have an amazing guest joining us, Geir Jåsund, CEO at Mikon AS. Welcome, Geir. Was the pronunciation good? I practiced it beforehand. Did I get it right?
I think that's pretty good.
I'll give you a B. Give me a B for that. So thank you so much for coming onto the channel. We really appreciate you taking time to speak with us. Now, for those who don't know who you are or the company, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and the company that you work at?
So I'm running a company called Mikon AS, as mentioned, which is a software company. We have our own software solutions for manufacturing companies. So we do industry reporting systems and AI, a lot of AI actually these days. Myself, I'm a software engineer by education. I've done a lot of software development projects and international sales, installations of software solutions in all over the world, actually, Brazil, the UK, all of the continental Europe.
So Mikon AS isn't actually your only company, right?
No, I have a few hobbies. So Mikon AS is my main line of work, but I have a web shop. So I import a lot of different products to the Norwegian market. Started as just a hobby. It turned out to be a proper business, actually. I also run a consultancy company, which is helping foreign companies to get customers in Norway. So it's kind of a reverse exports.
So apparently you hate having free time, is that right?
Yeah, I need to have something to do. Yeah. I just recently started drawing, actually.
Is that yours in the background?
Well, okay, that's a Dutch artist, actually.
Yeah. Oh, it's incredible, right?
Living in Amsterdam. He's
Yeah.
very gifted. It's not mine. I'm not a that.
Not yet, but maybe in the future. Now, we both were talking just before the podcast, and we both have a love of Norway and specifically the Norwegian countryside. How has being raised and living in Norway taught you about the world or developed you as a person?
Norway's a pretty safe place. It's in the corner of the world in many ways. It's a big area, and very few people. I mean, now we're counting like 6 million people or something. When I grew up, it was like more like 3.5, 4. Lots of space for each of us, and economics in Norway is pretty good. It's said to be a rich country, and I guess we are. We've been pretty prudent with the money, although we do spend too much, I guess, as all rich countries have a tendency to do. But it's been a very safe place to grow up. Yeah, I think it's a good place to be. Absolutely.
So your journey to CEO, was it something that when you were growing up, when you were getting educated, you thought, I want to run my own company? Or was it something that was just by chance you happened to have the opportunity and so you decided to take it?
I've always had that inclination to do things, and I've been a hard worker all my life, actually. I started to pick strawberries when I was like 11 years old, I think. So I was on my bike cycling for more than an hour. Went to this strawberry field, picked strawberries, and then I had for 2 hours, and then I had another 1 hour bike ride home. And I've been working on farms. I've been working a lot of different jobs, and I've always enjoyed being my own boss in a way. So I'm not that. It's not so much important for me to be bossing around and be, but I really enjoy creating things and creating value.
So what sparked your interest specifically in like terms of AI, industrial technology, digitalization, and that kind of thing?
Honestly, Barry, I was actually working with AI early 1990s, like in 1992, 1993. I was working with an expert system. Really, really interesting. It was kind of a command and control system for the offshore industry in Norway. So It was a system we built to organize rescue operations. This was after the Piper Bravo or Piper Alpha accident. And we had this horrible accident in Norway as well called the Alexander Kielland. It was a big platform that tipped over. Like 200 people died or something like that. So these rescue operations are pretty complex. It could be fire or explosion, and it's a harsh environment and everything. So we designed this expert system, actually with some governmental funding, and it didn't work, obviously, but it was a good idea. And the reason it didn't work was too little input, and the systems were not powerful enough. It was running on PCs and so on. It was too slow. But this is exactly the same kind of system as they built today, and which are now used in warfare. Palantir systems, for example,
Yeah.
they have these command and control systems for the armies and so on. I think they're using systems like this in Iran right now as we speak. But this was exactly the same kind of concept, organizing things. So I've been working with these kind of solutions and systems for a long, long time, and I found it really, really interesting. And now the last few years, the kind of cost of predictions and cost of hardware and so on has decreased so much. So this is so powerful now. And for some reason, I think manufacturing companies and process companies are quite slow to adapt this kind of technology. So this is a great interest of mine, and so I've been working on this a long time. Now it's suddenly within reach for a lot of customers and companies. So just done a pre-study for a big Norwegian company where we looked into ways we could use AI to improve their operations and save a lot of money. It could be in energy consumption, it could be waste, it could be anything basically. It's really interesting. The results are fantastic.
When you started in the early 1990s, did you have an idea that AI was going to become big? Did you know that you were working on something that would eventually become very, very influential? Or were you a little bit still, I'm not sure if this is going to work out as planned?
I wish I could say yes to that. That I would say that I was, really foresight. No, honestly, I thought this was crap. We tried to make it work, but no, it's not going to work. It's not perfect enough. This is, I didn't really see that.
Was it more the system limitations that made you think
Yeah,
that way?
yeah,
Yeah.
system orientation. Too little capacity,
Hmm.
too little power. The ideas and concepts and theories are fine, and I
Yeah.
actually had subjects like did they call it again? Neural networks, stuff
Yeah.
like that in university at the late 80s. We learned about this, but
Yeah.
at that time the systems were not powerful enough.
So Mikon AS, let's just talk a little bit about that. Like, how would you describe what the company does and who would be the clientele for Mikon AS?
Okay, what we do is we help our customers to do. Traditionally, we have been helping our customers to do production reporting, to report on all kinds of production. So this is for industrial and manufacturing companies. So it could be throughput, efficiency, energy, waste, emissions, all kinds of reporting. But this is kind of looking into the rearview mirror, right? So now we are more and more looking into, through the windscreen, so we use AI to predict how it's going to happen, what's going to happen. So we help with production reporting and production forecasting and production, predictions and operator support and stuff. All kinds
So,
of industries.
so when manufacturers and industrial companies come to you, do you see any core patterns of the same issues occurring again and again?
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot about making more out of what you had. I mean, using your capacity to the fullest, reducing waste, making sure the operators do the right things. It's very similar, and between industries as well. I mean, it's interesting to see that when you talk to a client or a potential client, they will always say that they are so special. Oh, they all these other companies, they can do this or that, but we are so special. Our process is different. Our equipment is different. That's always the story, but in reality, they are more and more. They're very, very similar. all of that.
When a company comes to you, like, what is the first step that you take to kind of like understand and diagnose the biggest opportunity for them?
I always suggest to have a workshop, and that could take the form of a small pre-study or just sitting down and, discussing and looking at the reporting they have today, and kind of understanding how they're operating and their biggest issues and challenges. And they all know what this is. They usually they have a lot of spreadsheets, for example. I mean, you can have a huge plant that have a lot of sophisticated instrumentation and process equipment and so on, and they might use SAP and big expensive software solutions and everything. But you know what? What they all end up using Excel spreadsheets. There's so many corners of this operation that it's not really covered by that system. You know, it's not covered by that, and so they create these spreadsheets just to kind of amend everything, and they end up having a lot of spreadsheets, and when all these managers and middle managers and operators and so on have a lot of different spreadsheets, so it could be 100 spreadsheets in the plans, and they all tell different stories and everything. So that's a typical symptom, and the customers know about this. They know what they are struggling with. They don't have the capacity to understand exactly how they can resolve it.
Do you find that a lot of companies are like reluctant adopters? Do you find that they're just doing it because they feel that's the way they should be doing it? Or do they have like a level of excitement for what the new technology might bring?
It depends a lot. Some companies are so are so conservative. They don't want to try out anything new. It's just about, this is what we've done in the last 30 years, so we let's keep on doing it the same way. I think that's a certain way to, to just cease to exist. Other companies are more aggressively, chasing new opportunities and so on, but most are somewhere in the middle. I would say most manufacturing companies are fairly conservative.
Yeah.
Fairly conservative because they have to produce everything. They have to keep the machine running.
Yeah.
And it's hard sometimes and to change anything, and it's also quite often quite expensive. To have to invest in a lot of new systems.
I was going to say, is it linked more to the size of the company and maybe the investment scale? Do you find that bigger companies are more happy or maybe less happy to put out a large bit of money in return for potential profitability in the future?
I wouldn't say that. I think it's a lot. It's some of these global companies. I mean, we just had a meeting on Friday. Actually, I had a meeting with a plant in Norway, and they are part of a huge enterprise. So everything there is kind of dictated from the headquarters, and it's a long distance from the headquarters to this plant, and so it has everything has a ripple down, and so decisions can take a long time to reach to the
Mm.
to the plants and so on. And I think in many cases it's more about ability than they want to do things, but it's hard to get it done.
I can imagine.
Bureaucracy.
So if you look a little bit of a crystal ball moment, if you look over the upcoming years, are there any like technological trends that you believe are going to have a big impact on manufacturing or scalability in the next few years? It could be AI or robotics or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, robotics has been around for a long time, and that's obviously something that's we're going to see more of. Yeah. Robotics is, as most technologies, it's getting cheaper and better. But I think AI is a game changer for many companies.
Mm.
It can be applied to so many different aspects of the company: production forecasting, quality stuff, and there's a lot of things. Automate a lot of work processes.
Mm. And
Which is, probably a good thing in many cases.
is there a danger that people can have too much information or an overloading of data and they're not really sure about what they should be looking at in terms of like where the key wins and losses are going to be?
But that's exactly where AI can help, because AI can actually sort out things, because what you have in many cases, you have, say, a control room, you might get kind of analysis paralysis, it gets so much information, it's hard to And that's a classic problem with alarms in a plant. You get a lot of alarms, kind of avalanche of alarms, and you can't really sort it out as a
Mm.
human being. If you use AI, you can actually sort out what's important, what's not important. You can train the system. You can use machine learning. You can use, and now we have these language models like ChatGPT and Claude and everything, which can connect the machine learning systems with language, which is
Mm.
very powerful. What you can do is you can do predictions, and then you can formulate that and convey that to operators and managers and so on in very, very easy to understand ways. So I think it's the opposite. It's going to be easier for people to, but what we need to do as people is to make judgments and to make decisions. So you get all this information, but it's still a person that needs to make it. Well, I hope so.
Well, maybe in the future the AI can do. Actually, since we're talking about that, maybe I can ask you: do you think there will always need to be like a human at the end making the final decisions, or do you think there will be a time when AI will replace basically human decision making?
Oh yes, I think that there's going to be a time where we leave more and more decisions to the AI, and that's where we're going to be. We're going to have to be careful as a, a human race, because if we leave it all to AI, that can be somewhat, frightening. And I mean, people are talking about this all the time
Yeah.
already, and especially in the weapons industry, autonomous weapon systems that just fire and without human intervention. So we need to have some kind of guardrails and safety mechanisms. So I think, yeah.
Do you have a Terminator 2-esque view of the world? Or are you a bit more positive than that?
I think it's very exciting times. Probably, Gary. I mean, there's so many things that can happen. We have this, these powerful technologies. I think we will understand that we need to tame this beast in a way. We need to, but I do understand that a lot of professionals are concerned and worried. I mean, even those in the AI industry, like the founders of
Yeah.
Anthropic and so on, they're worried.
Because we've always used technology efficiently and responsibly, haven't we? That's been the nature of human beings throughout the dawn of time, right?
Not really.
Are there any myths about AI? Let's myth bust. Are there any myths that people come to you and they think, actually, I can just get AI to do all of these things and I don't really have to worry about it? Is it at that stage yet? Or what myths would you say you encounter frequently?
Well, I think one myth is actually that a lot of people can discount AI because it's hallucinating, and it's just guessing and
Yeah.
so on, which is correct. It is hallucinating sometimes, and it gives wrong advice. The thing with say ChatGPT and Claude and other systems is that they are kind of getting you wrong information in a very kind of convincing way. Is it? It sounds very right, but it might be wrong. The thing is, people do that as well. I mean, you can go to any expert, human expert, you will quite often get the wrong information and wrong advice. So you still have to judge. You have to judge the AI. You have to judge people. Now, I think so. That's kind of a myth. I think that AI is always hallucinating is a lot of hallucinations going on. You get wrong information, but an AI system is reasoning very similar to a human being. So it's
Yeah.
hard to correct.
Yeah, I remember doing a course on hallucinations, and I think
Mhm.
that what was said to me was basically if you ask, could be any service. I say ChatGPT, but it could be anyone.
Mhm.
I draw a picture of an egg that has been dropped on the floor, and it will just put literally a whole egg on the floor. And obviously, we know from consequence and result that that would be a smashed or broken egg, right? So
Yeah.
that's probably what we're
Yeah.
talking to. Maybe
Yeah.
not applicable in terms of your area of
Yeah.
expertise, but the general theme of
Yeah, yeah,
hallucination.
yeah. But the thing is, these systems are learning so fast now. So what's wrong now could be correct in half a year's time. It's very fast.
Yes, so talking about the speed of AI development, like, are you seeing it as exponential growth in terms of intelligence, or do you see it as more linear? Have we reached the pinnacle now and we're kind of flattening off, or what do you think?
I think it's still exponential. I think
Hmm.
I'm blown away sometimes about what kind of. I'm using AI all the time. I'm using ChatGPT and Claude. And we use Claude internally, Anthropic internally at Mikon. They connected it to our support portal, so it helps our support engineers to resolve issues very quickly, and it's amazing. Honestly,
Yeah.
it really helps, and it is so much better now than it was a year ago. And so I think
It's really exciting. It's an exciting time to be alive. I mean, I think just before COVID as well, that kind of like kickstarted or boosted some of the changes in terms of like AI, in terms of being connected via the internet, companies embracing the web, so to speak.
yeah, video communications especially,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Remote work, everything. A lot of people never came back to the offices actually.
Yeah, they're still not. I can't really complain, can I? As you can see with my surroundings, so I'm happy not having to come into the office in case anyone asks. If we're looking at the industry, let's say everyone embraces all your suggestions, companies like yours. What will the future of manufacturing look like in, say, like 5 or 10 years? Is it going to be radically transformed, or is it going to be gradual but slow improvements?
I think it's going to be gradual. I think you will see less people doing more generally.
Yeah.
Enough. I think you will see better manufacturing. I mean, less waste, which is good. Uh, a more efficient use of energy, less pollution, less emissions, and things like that. But with less people. So and also. I think robotics is also playing a role when it comes to avoiding danger at work.
Mm.
There's still a lot of dangerous work processes out there. Handling very hot material, heavy stuff. Stuff like that. So yeah.
I remember watching, maybe it was a year ago or 2 years ago, there was a demonstration of robots by Elon Musk holding an egg. And since then, 2 years, I watched another one with Chinese robots like breakdancing and doing kung fu. And I just thought the transformation, the speed of development from, I'm not criticizing any particular company here, I'm just mentioning it, throwing it out there, yeah? Just picking up an egg gently and then actually doing breakdancing kung fu. Just and I remember watching the video, and one of the robots was actually restabilizing itself, but you could see its foot was a little bit off the position that
Mhm.
it had taken, and you could see it adjusting its and restabilizing. And I just thought, wow, that is incredible. And that was only 2 years. I'm not saying that the other company isn't at the same level. Is that kind of like the level of development speed that we're going through in terms of robotics, in the same way that we're developing in AI?
No, I think AI is going to develop much faster than robotics. That's because physical limitations of robotics. There's so many. I mean, robots in manufacturing environments is after all quite easy because it's the same movement all the time. You can pre-program it. It's very easy to program. When it comes to kung fu or holding out,
For example.
it's much more complex. It's a lot of movements. It has to think and take in a lot of sensor data in order to operate properly. So we as humans and animals as well, obviously, we have a lot of we have a few million years ahead, I guess, in development.
Mm.
And that's pretty hard because it's small electric motors, it's actuators, sensors, and stuff like that, which is not developing as fast as the AI machinery and
Mm.
so on. So there are physical limitations. But I've been watching. I think that was a Chinese thing as well. A football match between robots.
Oh,
That
wow.
was, oh my God, rolling over in the air.
Yeah. Okay, so we're
They
seeing
were
two
trying
different
to work
sides.
together, and hit the balls, and it was very, very weird.
Yeah. Maybe in the future that's what we'll be watching. We won't be watching players, we'll be watching robots versus robots.
Yeah, yeah,
You never
yeah.
know, do you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So unfortunately we are coming towards the end of the podcast. But I have two questions for you. My next one is basically, what does success look like for you? And in terms of your company, is it efficiencies? Is it customer numbers? Is it profit numbers? Is it technological advancement? What is it that you see when you see success?
It would be more customers.
And that's what makes it successful, right?
Yeah.
You can't have a company without them.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. You need customers. If you have a good business model, you will also earn your money then. And, yeah.
And then you can make those robots, right? And then my final question is for those who may be watching who are maybe in the early starting of becoming like their own businessmen, businesswomen, they want to be CEO or they want to develop their own company. Having been through your journey, you've got a lot of experience. What would be like the best piece of advice that you could give someone?
Do what you enjoy. Do what you enjoy. I mean, if you enjoy what you're doing, everything comes so easy. So if you hate your job, it's not gonna be.
Yes, it's not going to work. I think we've all been there,
You
right?
need to find something you're interested in, and so for, personally, for me, it's my job is my hobby.
Hmm.
That's a good place to be.
Yes, it is, isn't it? That's great. And that's great advice as well. And a nice positive way to end the podcast after we talked about the end of the world and Terminator style events. That's some nice positive advice for you at the end. So thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today. It's been an absolute pleasure talking with you.
Thank you so much, Barry, for having me.
That was Geir Jåsund, CEO at Mikon AS.